Poughkeepsie looks like a normal American town. Quiet streets, old trees, families walking their dogs. But beneath that peaceful surface, something terrible once lived. For years, no one knew the truth. People went missing, but the pieces never fit. Rumors spread, but there was no proof. Police tried but failed. The town moved on, until one day they found the tapes. Inside an abandoned house, a box full of old VHS tapes was discovered. What they saw changed everything. These tapes weren't just home videos. They were recordings made by a serial killer. Dozens of hours showing crimes too horrible to describe. The killer didn't just hurt people. He studied them, controlled them, made them trust him before he destroyed them. And he filmed it all. Poughkeepsie was never the same again. The tapes revealed not only one man's madness, but how a whole town failed to see the evil living among them. The quiet streets now hold a dark history. And the question remains, how many more secrets still hide in Poughkeepsie? Discovery of the tapes. It started with a simple search of an old, abandoned house. The property had been empty for years, dusty floors, broken windows, a strange silence inside. But then, hidden behind a false wall in the basement, police found a box. Inside it were dozens of unmarked VHS tapes. At first, they didn't understand what they had uncovered. But when they played the first tape, the horror became clear. The tapes weren't fake. They showed real people, real victims. The camera followed them from the moment they were taken to the moment their lives ended. Every detail was carefully recorded. Some tapes were short. Others went on for hours. The killer didn't just want to hurt people, he wanted to remember, to relive it all. Investigators were shocked. Some couldn't finish watching. Others had nightmares for weeks. Each tape opened a new mystery. Who were the victims? Where were they taken? And most chilling of all, who was holding the camera? The discovery of the tapes turned a cold case into a nightmare. It was no longer a question of if something evil had happened in Poughkeepsie. The truth was recorded, and it was far worse than anyone imagined. Inside the killer's mind, the tapes didn't just show crimes, they revealed a twisted mind at work. This wasn't a random killer. He was patient, clever, and deeply disturbed. Each recording gave a glimpse into how he thought, how he planned, and how much joy he took from causing pain. He studied his victims like puzzles, breaking them down piece by piece until they were completely under his control. The killer used different masks, voices, and tricks. He changed his style to confuse the police. Sometimes he acted like a friend. Other times, like a monster. He wasn't just chasing victims, he was playing a long, terrifying game. He wanted people to feel safe, then strike when they least expected it. Psychologists who watched the tapes said he showed signs of extreme manipulation. He wasn't insane. He knew exactly what he was doing. He enjoyed the fear, the power, and the silence that followed his crimes. Through his lens, we saw how evil can hide behind a smile. The tapes didn't just show murders, they showed how darkness thinks. And the worst part, he wanted us to see it. He left the tapes behind on purpose, like a message no one can ever forget. Victims and their stories. Each tape revealed a new face, a new name, and a life stolen too soon. These weren't just victims, they were people with dreams, families, and futures. Some were children, some were adults. Some were taken from their homes, others from parking lots or quiet roads. The killer had no pattern. That made him even harder to catch. One of the most haunting stories was of Cheryl Dempsey. She was a bright, kind young woman who vanished without a trace. Years later, her face appeared on one of the tapes. What followed was pure horror, months of psychological torment. Cheryl was broken down until she no longer remembered who she was. When she was finally found, she wasn't the same. Her spirit had been destroyed. There were others, men and women whose names are still unknown. Their pain was recorded in cold detail. The killer never showed mercy, only control. Every tape added to the weight of what was lost. Families searched for answers that never came. Now, all they have are these terrible images, frozen in time. The tapes did more than document crimes. They stole voices, erased stories, and left behind scars that still haven't healed. Police chased the truth. As the tapes surfaced, police launched a massive investigation. Every frame was studied, every face analyzed. But the killer had been smart. He left no fingerprints, no clear clues. He changed his methods, his voice, even his appearance. Detectives followed leads across states, but the trail always went cold. They formed task forces, brought in FBI profilers, and compared old missing person cases. Some connections were made, but they were too late. The crimes had already been done, the victims already gone. One detective said it felt like chasing a ghost with a camera. The killer had been one step ahead the whole time, enjoying the hunt as much as the kill. And with each new tape, the horror deepened. The police never gave up. But the truth stayed just out of reach. A face behind the camera remained a mystery, and the killer's name was never found. Shocking clues revealed as investigators watched more tapes. Small but chilling clues began to appear. A street sign in the background. A sound from a train passing nearby. A unique wallpaper pattern. Each detail became a possible key to unlocking the killer's location. One tape showed a victim begging for help in what looked like a basement. Police searched hundreds of homes with similar layouts. Another clue came from a voice, faint but familiar to someone on the task force. Still, nothing led to a full name. The most shocking clue was a final message. The killer spoke directly into the camera, calm and smiling. He said, "You're watching this because I wanted you to." It wasn't a confession. It was a game. These clues gave hope, but also fear. He had left them on purpose, to tease the world. To this day, people still study the tapes, hoping to find the one clue that was missed. Why he was never caught despite years of searching, the man behind the camera was never found. Police had evidence, hours of video, dozens of victims, and a clear view into his methods. But they didn't have a name. He never showed his full face, never left DNA, and never slipped up. Every move he made was planned. He knew how the system worked. He avoided digital footprints. He used fake voices, gloves, and disguises. He changed cars, stayed on the move, and never struck in the same place twice. Some believe he studied law enforcement techniques just to stay ahead. The few survivors were too traumatized to give useful details. One even said, "He was everywhere and nowhere." The killer vanished like smoke, leaving behind only fear. Even now, with all our modern tools, his identity remains a mystery. That's what makes the case so terrifying. He wasn't just smart, he was invisible. And the worst fear, he may still be out there watching, planning his next tape. The tapes still haunt us. Years have passed since the discovery, but the Poughkeepsie tapes still haunt everyone who's seen them. They aren't just videos. They're nightmares caught on film. Law enforcement, journalists, and psychologists who viewed the footage still talk about the emotional damage it caused. Some had to leave their jobs. Others needed therapy. A few refused to speak about what they saw ever again. The tapes were never released to the public, but rumors spread. Leaked clips, descriptions, and secondhand stories appeared online. People became obsessed. Was it all real? Was the killer still out there? The mystery made the fear grow stronger. For the people of Poughkeepsie, the town's name became tied to something dark. Locals avoid the subject. Some deny the story ever happened. Others believe there are still more tapes, hidden somewhere, waiting to be found. Even today, the Poughkeepsie tapes are a warning, a reminder that evil can hide in plain sight. And once it's caught on camera, it never really goes away, real or just a movie. After the tapes were discovered, the story spread like wildfire. But as time passed, questions began to rise. Was it all real, or was it just a movie made to look real? The Poughkeepsie tapes blurred the line between fact and fiction so well that even some viewers today aren't sure what to believe. The documentary-style footage, the interviews, the raw camera work, it all felt too real, too detailed. Some believed it had to be based on true events. Others pointed out the lack of public records, the absence of real victim names, and the films released through a production company. In truth, the Poughkeepsie Tapes is a fictional horror movie made to feel like a real case. But the impact was very real. It shocked audiences, inspired online debates, and became a cult classic for found footage horror fans. Still, the fear it created didn't fade. Because even if the tapes were fake, the idea behind them wasn't. Monsters like the one shown in the film have existed. And that's what makes the Poughkeepsie Tapes so chilling. It may be fiction, but the fear it plants feels all too real.